So for your interactive read aloud, I think overall you did a very good job. Um, One like for the text selection, like I could tell that you knew like a lot of it, and like you were very prepared. Like I saw all the sticky notes and stuff. So I don't know. It just seemed that you were like very prepared. And I also really liked the book for them because it was something I feel like they could stay engaged with and that they could be challenged by the text too.
Thanks. I tried to pick something that like everyone would be able to relate to. So I feel like with like having a bad day, like it doesn't really matter like who you are, you have bad days. So that's why I chose that one.
How did you like prepare for it?
So I read the book like 3 or 4 times, and then I would like, because there were a couple words I didn't know how to pronounce, so like I would look them up on like Google and like figure out how to pronounce them and like practice those to make sure like all my pronunciation was good, and then I practiced like my questions and like stopping and like waiting for them. So
Cool. Yeah, it just seemed like you were prepared. For like the transition into it, I thought you did a good job to like introducing the text and bringing like your own experience because you started off with your own experience having like a terrible day, and then you opened it up for them by doing like the think, pair, share, right?
mm-hmm.
And then so I think that was really good, so they could like kind of get a sense of what the book was going to be about.
Mm-hmm. That was my goal.
um, I think since you were like focusing on sequencia, I also think you did a good job, and you had like the big board with the timeline, which I think was very helpful visual for them,
mm-hmm.
especially for the students who are developing their English. And yeah, like why did you choose that?
To use like the board.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely didn't want to just like tell them the word because I figured like they needed to be able to see it and hear it at the same time to get like both of those. And then I just wanted to be able to like actually write down the timeline because I feel like they wouldn't be able to like remember every event that happened in the story.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I mean I only picked like the big ones because there was like a million events that happened. So I picked like the big ones, but I wanted them to see how like they were like in order and it wasn't like out of order. So I wanted them to be able to visually see that to help the visual learners.
Is there anything else you think you could have included to do like more scaffolds, especially for the students who are developing their Spanish or their English?
I think it might have been beneficial to like have like the events or something like written out so they would be able to like see all of them and like put them in order. But
yeah.
But then I didn't have like enough space on the board, so that would have like changed. Like it might have been better if I had them like sitting in their desks because she doesn't have like an easel anchor chart board. So I feel like it might have been better if they were sitting in their desks, and then I was using like the big whiteboard so that I had more space, and then and then I could have even had them like come up and like write on the board so they could be practicing their writing, so to make it a little more engaged.
Yeah. But talking about engagement, I really think they were all like they all participated a lot. The only thing that I noticed was like it was the same people that were participating most of the time. So I mean, but their participation was good, and I feel like we have a lot of listeners in the classroom who rather just like listen instead of speak. So is there anything that you think you could have done to like encourage them to talk more?
Well, one thing that I'd say is like at the beginning they seemed very confused when I was like just like talk to a partner about it because like some people would just like sit there and just like stare at me, and then a couple people like were raising their hands because they wanted to like share out to the class. So I don't think they understood the fact that like, they were just supposed to like talk to a partner right away. And then I feel like it would have been beneficial if like I almost gave them partners because they were kind of like I feel like they spent like the time like finding a partner and then like just like talking and not like focusing on like what they were supposed to be like what I asked them to talk about.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would have been better if I was like your partners just like really quickly. So
yeah. So for like the actual read aloud, I also think you did a good job with going like slow and like taking your time with the text. The only thing is that you were talking very low, but that was I feel like that's something you probably just didn't notice.
Yeah, I definitely didn't. I definitely thought that I was like talking in a normal voice, but I feel like I was also a little bit nervous, so I was probably also just
Yeah.
talking a little bit quieter. So
And then just like the dynamic voice, like making like the
Mhm.
story like come alive.
Mhm.
So I feel like that could be something that you could improve on, like practicing like reading out loud. But yeah, I really liked all like during the read aloud. I liked the stopping points that you had. I feel like they were very thought out, and I also like the questions that you made them engage with each other on. Um, but yeah, I love the línea de tiempo because that was like a way I feel like to check for their understanding to see who was participating, who wasn't, and who looked confused. And yeah. Is there anything you think you would have done differently in your read aloud, or something that you think went really well, like during it?
I definitely liked the like what you said with like the stopping points. I feel like I chose like enough stopping points. I feel like there's a couple more places that I could have stopped, like because I feel like there were some gaps that were like big that they had to like remember a lot of things. But then I feel like the thing that I would change is I feel like I would try to ask more like higher ended questions versus just like what happened in the story. Like be like, why do you think that happened? Like, why do you think that that led to that? So maybe ask more like higher ended questions.
Yeah. I feel like they could have been a little bit more challenged with the questions, but the questions, the ones you did were good though. That makes sense.
No, yeah.
But yeah. Is there any like reflection that you've done after it, like on like the overall thing? Like, how did you think it went?
I feel like it was good. I feel like it sometimes like I was rushing just because like I was nervous. And I feel like one thing that I definitely like I did wait a lot for like when like all the same kids were raising their hands. Like I tried to wait a little bit, but then I feel like I just kind of like called on someone. So I feel like I could have waited a little bit longer or like rephrased my question. Yeah, which is like from like choice words. But like you need to like wait in order to give like everyone like the time to like process the question, or maybe they just didn't understand how I worded it, so I could have like rephrased it. So
yeah, I think you did a good job with that too. So yeah, I think you did have like the good wait time. Like you did it, but it could have been done like you could probably done a little bit more, or it could have been like more effective. And also just like the referencing them as like a we, not like you, and so just including like the invitation to join the classroom community. It shows the ability and desire to collaborate. So I really like that we both did that, or you did that. I also really like that you were like during the whole time. Like I know you also referred to them as like readers. So just to get them in that mindset, I think you really did a good job, like with introducing that and giving them that label and that identity to as a successful reader, so they could be even more engaged during the read aloud. I think overall you did a good job during it. Do you think your seating arrangement, like where you were, was good? Even like I know you wanted maybe would have been better if they sat on sat on their chairs, but like since they were on the carpet, do you think where you sat was beneficial?
Since I was sitting like on like the rocking chair, I feel like it would have been better if I was like on the floor with them, so I was like joining the conversation as more like a community feel. But like and like make a circle. I don't know if there would have been enough space for us all to make like a big circle because I would need them to see like the board that I was doing. So yeah, I feel like also there was a lot of people that were like talking, like not they were having some like side conversations, and like there were people that were like hitting each other. So I feel like maybe being like in like the circle would have stopped that a little bit more because they weren't so bunched together. So I probably want to do that instead.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think we had like a hard space to work with, but yeah, I think you worked well with what we had. So like going to like the end of like your lesson, I really like that you connected it back to the story. Like after you did like the línea de tiempo, And then you also connected it back to the text that they're reading in their daily five, just so they could take the use of like using la línea de tiempo and listening for like the different events into the reading that they're doing. And I just really thought that they didn't really connect it, so when you connected it, it was kind of like a light bulb moment for them. And overall, like they were during the sequencing, like I feel like a lot of them, there was a lot of events in the book, like a lot of them, but the students were like they knew, they were saying all the right things, like they were participating in the lesson, and they were sequencing the events like properly, so it showed that they were learning and they were listening to you. So the only thing like with your conclusion that I think could have been a little better was like to transition like into the next activity, like the next thing that we were moving on to that was no longer the interactive read aloud. But that's like I feel like something you just work on.
I definitely agree that it was very awkward, but like I didn't really necessarily know what they were doing next. I feel like I should have figured out what they were doing next so that it would have been like better. So, but yeah, no, I definitely agree. It was a little weird.
Did you like how your like the línea del tiempo went? Was that like what you were envisioning on how they were gonna respond to it?
Yeah, it was because I wanted them to just like come up with like the important events, but I also they kind of just like named them like the first thing and they just went up to like 6. I feel like I kind of wanted them to go like just like pick things like from about like the middle and get to like the end. But I feel like I could have explained that better, and like that's why they just kind of gave me like 6 events. So like I was fine with it because they were released in order, so it wasn't necessarily like from like beginning to end, but it was just like 6 big events.
Is there anything you would have done differently with just that part of the activity?
Or the línea de tiempo? Yeah. I feel like it would have been beneficial if it was longer. And I could have included like more than 6 events just because there were so many, and I feel like 6 was like just like a smaller number. But like I did kind of just like do what I had with like the space, and I also didn't want it to like take up too much time because it was like at the very end of the day, so like I knew that we didn't have too much time to like do it before they left for home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think they did really well in that activity too. So like overall, like during the activity, like how do you think like the students behaved, and like what type of behavior management did you like try to enforce?
Yeah, so I feel like there were in some cases like some side conversations, and then there were a couple people that were like couldn't keep their hands to themselves. And so for part of it, like I would try to like ignore it and hope that it would like stop, but like some of it like kept continuing. So I would be like, I would just kind of like address it right then. It was like, you need to like stop. And then I moved 1 or 2 people because they were like, it would like wasn't stopping or changing. So I don't know if that was the most beneficial thing to do, but I also didn't want to like deter from the story too much. Like I wanted to like keep reading it, and I didn't want to like necessarily direct that much attention to the groups, but like a lot of them like didn't stop when I like was trying to just like ignore it. So.
Yeah, I feel like that was hard to manage. Like I was like, I'm trying to read.
Yeah.
And I don't want to distract the people who are listening. Like, yeah.
So I wasn't really sure about that one, but.
Yeah. Well, you already said like a way that more people could participate. And I really like maybe the assigning partners and stuff. I also liked how like during the conclusion too, I forgot who it was. I think it might have been like Ismael. He like answered your question, but I feel like it wasn't what you really wanted or what you were looking for. But you like responded in a way where you connected like what he said, like trying to make it go into like your answer. So like I really think that you were like, and you were asking questions too. So I really think you were trying to like, yes, you have like the base of it, but also you're trying to encourage like higher order thinking, right? For them to like keep going on from like their initial thoughts. So I really think you did a good job with that.
One thing that I definitely thought was interesting in my read aloud though was like I would ask like I was reading the story in Spanish and asking all my questions in Spanish, but like a lot of students were answering me in English, and like some of them were like the native Spanish speakers also that were answering in English. So I was kind of confused why they were answering me in English, but like even though they did that, like I still responded in Spanish. But it's just very interesting that they would like think to like I don't know, but it was also kind of like they like understood the story because they were able to like instantly like transfer it into the other language. So
Yeah, I think that's something I wrote in my like checklist for you for like the notes
Mhm.
that like even though you were reading in Spanish and you were encouraged in Spanish, like you still accepted the English because I don't know. I just thought it was nice that you didn't like no try Spanish.
Yeah.
Because they have obviously understood what you were saying enough to respond in English. But yeah, I also like throughout the whole thing you try to encourage like academic language like secuencia and all that stuff. And trying to go above like just the basic words that they're used to. But yeah, I think overall you did a good job with it.
I think so. Can you go on to yours?